Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make sauerkraut. All you need is a clean mason jar and your fermenting kit. I use the mason top pickle pipes. They're very easy to use and very affordable. I highly recommend them. You're also going to need a fermenting hammer, a funnel, a nice crisp head of cabbage, and some good salt. Since fermenting uses so little ingredients, it's really important to get good ingredients. Now you can use homegrown cabbage or store-bought cabbage. Just make sure there's no obvious bruises, no rotted spots, and even peel back some of the first layers if there's any brown spots on them. You really want a crisp cabbage to start with. The first step is to cut your cabbage. Now you can use a knife or a mandolin or even a food processor. Either way, you want to cut it up into small bite-sized pieces. Here you can see me cutting it away from the cabbage core. I am not going to ferment the cabbage core simply because it gets too tough even through the fermenting process, and it's just simply unpleasant for us to eat, so that will go into my compost pile. Now any size cabbage will do. About one medium-sized cabbage will fit 1 quart jar. You will see later on in this video that this cabbage was actually more on the larger side. I ended up filling up a whole quart jar and a pint jar. Now the next step is to sweat your cabbage out. To do this, you simply put your cabbage in a few bowls and you sprinkle all your salt on top of it, and you're going to let it sit out for at least an hour until you can obviously see it sweating. Now for 1 medium-sized head of cabbage, you need 1 tablespoon of salt. Here I'm going to use about 1.5 tablespoons of salt just because this was a little bit larger. It's very important to remember that you need to use good salt. Here I'm using pink Himalayan salt, but all natural sea salt or any other kind of real salt will do. Whatever you do, don't use iodized or table salt. Mix this all together. Simply place a towel over top and let it sit out for an hour. When you come back to it, it should look wet, and if you dig to the bottom of the bowl, there should be some juices forming. Now it's time to put it in your jars. Now a funnel is completely optional. You can always just shove this in with your hand. The cabbage is usually pretty wet though, so I try to get all the juices and all the salt particles into the jar. More importantly is you're using a fermenting hammer and how you pound it down in there. At this point, you want to use your hammer not only to pack it in, but to almost bruise the cabbage so the juices can come out and the cabbage can ferment fully. A hammer is the best and easiest way to do it. You can do it with your hands, but I honestly suggest just buying a fermenting hammer. Now, like I said earlier, a whole medium-sized cabbage can fit into a quart jar, so you don't have to be gentle with this. You really want to pound it down into the jar. Now keep doing this until your mason jar is full, and if there's any juices in the bowl, go ahead and pour that in there too. You're gonna want to leave an inch headspace in the jar. If you're using pickle pipes like me, all you have to do is put the glass weight in, push it down a little until you can see some juices coming up, and then you're gonna take the silicone top and just tie it down with a band. I personally use the wide mouth set of pickle pipes because I feel wide mouth jars are much easier to do fermenting in, but there is a regular mouth set available if you wish to have that instead. Also want to add that you can use green or red cabbage for sauerkraut. They both taste fantastic and work just as well. After this, you just let your jar sit on your countertop for at least a week. After 1 week, you can taste test these. You know your sauerkraut is ready when it's not salty. When your sauerkraut is done fermenting, simply take out the weight, take off the top, put a regular mason jar top on top, and store it in the fridge. It'll stay in your fridge for quite a long time. I hope this video helps. I will link my blog post below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.